Oh, so close. You just missed off that little bit on the end there. You know, an explanation for gases dumbed down to the point that even flat earthers might be able to understand it. Might.
Feel all available microstates, entropy.
Oh, you've got to dumb it right down for somebody as moronic as Thunderfoot. Don't mention microstates. Thunderfoot's never going to understand such terminology. Microstates, no, you're getting way too complicated for a clown. See, I can add hom too, Thunderfoot. You moron. You understand what a microstate is, moron? Yeah, Nobel Prize waiting for you if you violate the second law of thermodynamics, Thunderfoot. You won't.
A vacuum. And if I open the tap between these two, you will see spontaneously the bromine rush from one to the other. All that happens is a change in entropy. The expansion into a vacuum, nothing else is involved. There's no energy change, there's no temperature change, there's no change except entropy.
The gas expands into a vacuum. And the skies claim to be a vacuum, an available space for that entropy increase to take place. And what he's just described is natural law. Inviolable. Applicable always. I am correct here. That will never change. Therefore, he will not have a response. We need to see gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container in violation of natural law to justify your fundamentalist religious assertion that the sky is a vacuum in violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Your current rebuttal as it stands is gas go down, go boom boom like bouncy balls. Because it's got a downward vector with gravity. That is not how gas behaves. Gas does not require sweeping up. It does not go down, go boom boom with a single vector of gravity. That is not what gas does. Thunderfoot is wrong. He simply doesn't understand gas behaviour. He's been demonstrated a moron by us, which is why he's responded. Now, moron, clown show, Thunderfoot, take this as my response. Obviously, we wouldn't get into the detail of microstates with someone like Thunderfoot. We need to dumb this right down for a clown that thinks that gas behaves like bouncy balls. It doesn't. None of the gas in that demonstration fell to the bottom of the chamber.
The bromine rush from one to the other.
Obviously, it didn't behave like Thunderfoot's bouncy balls. He's a moron. And how proud it is to tell this moron globe-believing retard how moronic he is as a flat earther who does understand entropy, who does understand how fake space is and how he's been deceived, and how that deception has left him making declarations of absolute stupidity to audiences of almost 1 million people. Almost 1 million people being poisoned with his abject stupidity about how gas behaves. No practical demonstration with a gas. Him pouring a solid into a fish tank. I really enjoy telling Thunderfoot how stupid he is, with total justification and a smile on my face. Not, you didn't understand me pouring bouncy balls into a fish tank. It was dumbed down too much for you flat earthers. No, we have natural law, which we can describe with the number of available microstates that would be on offer by a sky vacuum. Because we understand entropy here, Thunderfoot. Unlike you moron, who thinks that solids behave like gases, making you thick. Are we all proud to be telling this 1 million subscriber moron globehead how thick he is? I'm proud. Proud to be a flat earther who will have not demonstrated gas pressure without a container as per the heliocentric fundamentalist religious worldview that you have, with your feet believed to be stuck to the side of a spinning water ball in a vacuum. Now, the sky is not a vacuum. If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we breathe would fill the space. This is inviolable natural law. No rebuttal will come from Thunderfoot in this regard. He has no clue what he's dealing with. Evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
What?
Hold on, I have a doctor.
Gas go down, go boom boom
Nobel.
is not a good enough explanation?
No, gas
Dr.
doesn't have a
Nobel
downward
said the
vector
sun.
exclusively, no.
Did you see the response video from Thunderfoot?
Another
Right,
response video?
okay.
He talks about you for like a few minutes,
and then goes on to bitch about the vacuum cleaner again. He straw man your position. The video is completely boring. I just have no idea how I kept my eyes awake for it.
Vacuum cleaner? What are we talking about? We're talking about the Sky Vacuum, claimed to be 10 to the minus 17 tall.
Some guy who decided he wanted to make a type of dryer.
Oh, okay. So my comparison is to say that when he's debunking somebody who's making claims about a dryer that uses vacuum pressure, he goes to the effort of actually producing something and making a demonstration that utilizes a vacuum chamber to show how much he can dry something with a vacuum. In other words, he's doing a comparison like for like and saying, this is what it will achieve, this is how it achieves it, here's how it does it, here's my practical demonstration. Now, my point in bringing that up is that, number one, in his examples, he also shows space in that very video. So he's talking about vacuums, giving a practical demonstration, and then in my response, I've said, why is it that we don't get a practical demonstration? We get you using a false equivalence, pouring out bouncy balls into a fish tank, as opposed to something that involves a vacuum without a container, as asserted by the heliocentric world. So my utilization of this other debunking, I'm sure that debunking was very good. I've got absolutely no qualms with him whatsoever in terms of his debunking of some muppet that is trying to flog a vacuum-powered tumble dryer. Good for you. Debunk that nonsense. Good for you. But it got a practical demonstration, not a false equivalence. So that was my point in highlighting that.
Using a vacuum or lower pressure definitely causes the boiling point of water to go down dramatically. So that's actually a really smart way to get the water out of the...
Oh, or to get the water out of our oceans by having a sky that's a vacuum.
Yeah. That too.
Right, so given that you'd need a container to have gas pressure in the first instance, in other words, without the container there can be no pressure, why would it be the case that I give a crap about his assertions about someone else with their vacuum chamber when my argument is about the Sky Vacuum, outer space being fake? I don't care about some vacuum, but if he's waffled on about that as a straw man for 25 minutes to pad out his content, then good for him.
He's a moron.
Yeah, Thunderfoot is a clown. You know, he thinks gas has an exclusively downward vector because he's got a religious belief in a not actual force of gravity. When gas doesn't have an exclusively downward vector, you don't sweep it up at the end. You don't have to do that with gas. It fills the availability of volume it has to fill. If the sky's a vacuum, the gas is going to expand in all directions and fill that availability of volume. It's described by entropy, second law of thermodynamics. Well, let's put it this way. Our claim has not changed. We haven't mentioned vacuum cleaners. That just creates a differential in pressure. Well, the Sky Vacuum would also be that differential. So if you want to compare it to a vacuum cleaner of some description, you're just creating a differential in pressure. Well, the Sky's claim to be 10 to the minus 17 torr. A massive difference. And the gas we're breathing would fill it, if it was true. It's not. We wouldn't have any gas. Therefore, space is fake. Pretty simple. The rebuttal from Thunderfoot is no. Gas has weight. It goes down. Look, watch. If I pour bouncy balls into something, they go down. Therefore, gas go down. Go boom boom, like bouncy balls. No. Gas behaviour is not analogous to solid behaviour. They're completely different. They're unbonded. The molecules of gas expand in all directions. They don't have an exclusively downward vector. It's nonsense. He's just a moron. You're a clown, Thunderfoot. You will not be demonstrating gas pressure without a container, as asserted by the heliocentric model of Earth, with its second law of thermodynamics violation Sky Vacuum. You won't be demonstrating that that is possible in violation of natural law, because it isn't. Sky is not a vacuum, outer space is fake.
And he actually had the gall to basically try to approach it from how pointless flat earthers are. He did like a psychological hit attempt on the flat earthers themselves in this video. I don't know, and after like 5 minutes I stopped watching because it just made me want to throw up.
Okay, but good to know we were under his skin and he feels a response is necessary. Excellent, this tete-a-tete can continue. He's a globehead, so his automatic go-to is to ridicule. So that will be without saying. But I'm not interested in him ad homing us and psychologically analysing us. I don't care. Yeah, it's water off a duck's back. What's your argument? What's your rebuttal? That's all I'm interested in. Oh, right, you think I'm thick. Oh, right, you think we've got psychological problems. Couldn't give a crap. Not relevant to the subject and the discussion. We're debating the nature of reality, Thunderfoot. Thought you were a scientist. Aren't you more interested in ideas than people? Clearly not. Very lowbrow moron.
He denies science and natural law. I think he's projecting.
Yeah. While he's denying natural law and science, he's simultaneously telling other people how thick they are. Yeah, just another logical fallacy ad hominem attack if there's no actual rebuttal attached. Because I know that you're not going to violate natural law with a rebuttal. Yeah, Nobel Prize waiting for you if you violate the second law of thermodynamics, Thunderfoot. You won't. I am correct here. That will never change. Therefore, he will not have a response. But the fact that I'm already aware, by you guys having watched it and me not watching it, that he's attacking us personally, or me personally. What a shock. No, we need to see gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container in violation of natural law to justify your fundamentalist religious assertion that the sky is a vacuum in violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Your current rebuttal as it stands is gas go down, go boom boom like bouncy balls. Because it's got a downward vector with gravity. That is not how gas behaves. Gas does not require sweeping up. It does not go down, go boom boom with a single vector of gravity. That is not what gas does. Thunderfoot is wrong. He simply doesn't understand gas behaviour. He's been demonstrated a moron by us, which is why he's responded. Now, moron, clown show, Thunderfoot, take this as my response. I don't even need to watch your video. You will have not demonstrated gas pressure without a container, as per the heliocentric fundamentalist religious worldview that you have, with your feet believed to be stuck to the side of a spinning water ball in a vacuum. Now, the sky is not a vacuum. If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we breathe would fill the space. This is inviolable natural law. No rebuttal will come from Thunderfoot in this regard. He has no clue what he's dealing with. So his ad hominem attacks are irrelevant.
And he was trying to project that onto, well, the flat earthers in that video.
I see. The Hillary Clinton approach. Project your own digressions onto your opponent. Very smart there, Thunderfoot. Other than we couldn't give a crap about your ad hominem attacks, we're only looking for a response in terms of the second law of thermodynamics violation claim that we have a sky vacuum.
Did he ever respond to gas being bouncy balls and give an answer to that once we called him out on it?
Was there any response to how you can have gas pressure without a container, which is the actual question on the table?
He did this weird thing where he dropped a bunch of bouncy balls into an aquarium and said, notice how the balls don't have enough force to bounce back out of the aquarium. That's gravity.
This is the same video. He's not made a new response.
Yeah, maybe it's just a rehash. He just cut and pasted.
Oh, so he's just he's doubled down on his bouncy balls, gas go down, go boom boom. He's doubled down on it. Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
So, yeah, he doubled down.
That sounds totally retarded.
It is retarded. Well, see, they have to believe all this stuff in order to keep their doctorates and have their professorship. So they have to keep it going. It's a pretty simple argument that we put out in the housekeeping question. If you introduce gas into a vacuum, it's going to fill the available space. That is demonstratable. You can't have gas pressure, keyword pressure, next to an empty vacuum with no barrier, or it'll fill the space. This is so obvious.
Without a container.
Ooh, so close. You just missed off that little bit on the end there. You know, an explanation for gases dumbed down to the point that even flat earthers might be able to understand it. Might.
Nathan, I just don't understand.
Sorry, he didn't actually say anything. So what? We don't understand. That's his rebuttal by showing the same exact thing and saying it's been dumbed down to the point where we might understand that gas behaves like solid bonded bouncy balls and goes down, go boom boom. No, my video had a response to that. It was a helium balloon going up and going boom boom.
Oh shit!
So no response to that, just an assertion that we don't understand his explanation that gas behaves like solid bonded bouncy balls. No, Thunderfoot, you complete clown. You seem to be doubling down on your assertion that gas behaves like bonded bouncy balls. No, it doesn't. Gas expands in all directions to fill the availability of volume it has to fill. Why would you double down on your complete nonsense that we've taken the piss out of you for? My word, man. You still think gas goes down, go boom boom, you complete clown? Oh, well, then we'll continue to ridicule you for your abject stupidity, Thunderfoot. Gas does not go down, go boom boom, like bouncy balls in a fish tank. Gas expands in all directions. It's unbonded at an intermolecular level. So, no, you Thunderfoot clown. What a moron.
I have gas pressure through a tube, through an air stone at the bottom, and when I leave that on so they can have their oxygen, guess where that air goes when I turn it on?
It goes
Up.
down, go boom boom?
No, it goes up.
Thunderfoot does not understand gas behaviour. He certainly doesn't understand the claim of the heliocentric model with a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum and unbonded gas next to it. He thinks that gas goes down, go boom boom like solid bonded bouncy balls. He's a complete moron. Thunderfoot, I'm a flat earther and I'm telling you, you are thick, stupid, retarded, dense, because you think solids behave like gases. Different states, mate. Fundamentally different in their behaviour, mate. You clown moron. You don't understand gas behaviour.
If gas went down and went boom boom, I'd only have to turn my air compressors on for the certain hours of the day, knowing the oxygen would be at the bottom for the rest of the time when it's off, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, the gases get all mixed up in our atmosphere. We have very dynamic systems, so they don't get to separate into the different densities. It's an anisotropic mixture of gases. That's what we actually have, because we have different pressures and things, a dynamic system. But without the container, there can be no pressure. So, to reassert our question in the first instance, how can we have gas pressure, that would be the stuff we're breathing, without the necessary antecedent of a container for the gas to press upon? Given that the assertion by the heliocentric bullshit world of a sphere Earth in a vacuum is the assertion that we have gas pressure with no containment in a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum, a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. The response, doubled down now, by Thunderfoot is to say gas goes down, go boom boom, like these bonded bouncy balls. And once they're finished bouncing after I've poured them, I'll sweep them up with a dustpan and brush like gas, because that's how gas behaves. No, Thunderfoot, you are fundamentally retarded.
Somebody buy him some clown shoes.
A couple of shout-outs. So all the people who made me memes with Thunderfoot as a clown, thank you very much. I could do with a few more, because there's going to be a few more thumbnails required.
Nathan, do you think that he really believes the bouncy ball bullshit explanation? Or that he's at this point just doing it for money and basically gaslighting his own audience? What do you
I have
think?
no idea. I'm not going to divine his thoughts. However, he has doubled down on it. He has reasserted it by way of ad hominem in regards to our understanding. You don't understand. It's been dumbed down so much. How could you not understand? What, that gas behaves like solid bonded bouncy balls? It doesn't. How can you not understand, claim to be scientist, that gas behaviour is not the same as solid behaviour? They are fundamentally different. Now that makes you a clown. Now it's very nice for me as a flat earther to say to somebody much, much bigger and who goes around boasting his accreditation to various other zealots who he encounters, to have me, the flat earther, point out at a fundamental level that this clown, Thunderfoot, is retarded and doesn't understand basic principles of gas behaviour. He thinks they behave like solids. No, that makes him a retard, and I'm very proud as a flat earther to call the globe-believing moron that is Thunderfoot clown a clown. Because he is. And now I, like with the other people who come here, simply demonstrate why he's a clown. Gas doesn't require sweeping up because it has a single downward vector, like the solid bonded bouncy balls used in his demonstration. That is not how gas behaves. Gas expands in all directions. It doesn't have an exclusively downward vector. Thunderfoot, you moron. You're being educated with an actual point. Not me claiming how thick you are, only to then move on. No. You're thick because you don't understand gas behaviour. You think it goes down, go boom, boom. I can debunk that with a helium balloon, Thunderfoot, you abject moron.
They believe in their heliocentric lie so much that they think with these little examples of balls in an aquarium, and obviously it's a solid versus a gas, that escapes them. And they don't see how embarrassing it is when asked to prove how their model works. But they, with all confidence, start proving, as they think, how their model works. And this guy uses an aquarium with solids and says this is gas. This is equivalent to how gas works. And they're not even aware how embarrassing it is when they do it, because that's how much they're into it.
Yeah, we're dealing with clowns. Doesn't matter what level. They've all been brainwashed with the same nonsense, and they will humiliate themselves in defence of that nonsense if they're a globehead. Thunderfoot is clearly a globehead. It's not a normie. So therefore he's going to humiliate himself in every single challenge. Well, fine by me. More power to you, Thunderfoot. Keep coming back with your double down nonsense that gas go down, go boom boom like your solid bonded bouncy balls in your example. You keep up that nonsense, my friend. And I'll keep pointing out that that's not a gas. That's not how gas behaves. That they're fundamentally different states, and for you to declare that gas behaves like solid bonded bouncy balls not only can be debunked by a helium balloon, but makes you an abject moron. I, the flat earther, am pointing out how the globehead is moronic. This would be Thunderfoot Clown and his moronic declaration that bonded solid behaves like unbonded gases. No, Clown. No. But I, the flat earther, am more than proud to point that out to you, you clown. Triple down on this nonsense. Hopefully you'll never get to the point where you actually concede that pouring balls into a fish tank is not the same as gas. Maybe use a gas. How about that? Kind of like he did when he debunked the guy with the vacuum chamber. He made a vacuum, analogous to the guy's vacuum, right? Well, why the false equivalence? Why change unbonded gases into solids with bonds? Would it be so you can assert that it's got a downward vector? Because that's what your solid does when it's in air. What's the air doing? Is that needing sweeping up like the bouncy balls? No, it isn't, is it now? It's expanding in all directions, because that's gas behaviour, unlike solid behaviour. But Thunderfoot Clown is a retard. Like, at a base level, he's just stupid. Doesn't understand how gas behaves. You'd think he would. He's a scientist. Claims to be a scientist. And with Thunderfoot, he's never going to stop doubling down on his gas go down, go boom boom like solid bonded bouncy balls.
This thing with Thunderfoot is replicated in all the other arguments because they do the same thing. You say, what's blocking the bottom of boats? They go, earth curve. You say, all right, well, show us the earth curve where it's supposed to be based on your geometric horizon, based on geometry, based on the radius, based on Alberuni. Oh, so there is no earth curve.
They're perpetually stuck in a doubling down on their own stupidity over and over again, while simultaneously just telling their audience how stupid we are, while they all clap, like penguins. Isn't he great? He said they were stupid! Yeah, he didn't actually address anything that we refuted him with, though, did he now? Entropy won't have been violated by Thunderfoot, and that's what he needs, an entropy violation. Good luck with that, Thunderfoot! Oh, what do you know? The gas would fill the space. Why aren't these balls going down, go boom boom? They seem to be expanding in all directions, Paul.
I don't know. I think this thing called wanting to feel all available microstates. I think there's a thing called with entropy. I'm not sure.
Oh, you've got to dumb it right down for somebody as moronic as Thunderfoot. Don't mention microstates. The level of moronic that we're dealing with in the case of Thunderfoot's never going to understand such terminology. He thinks gas behaves like bouncy balls. So microstates, no, you're getting way too complicated for a clown. See, I can add hom too, Thunderfoot. You moron. You understand what a microstate is, moron?
This is actually a better representation of microstates. You got a barrier with a gas over on the left side. If I remove the barrier, this is usually when you hear about entropy, increase in entropy, and they always use gas as their illustration, which is interesting. I don't know why they would use gas if it doesn't obey the laws of the increase in entropy. But if I put the barrier back, it stays. If I remove the barrier, it wants to fill the available volume each time, every single time.
Oh, we've got a practical demonstration. Chocolate, any chance you can dig out the practical demonstration with bromine?
Yeah, give me a second or two.
Again, we're being very kind to educate Thunderfoot with practical demonstrations of entropy. That would be gas expanding into an available volume, Thunderfoot? Occupying all the available microstates? We can show that with gas. Bromine! It's a really, really simple demonstration. It's just a demonstration of an increase in entropy.
one of these bulbs some bromine, and in the other I have a vacuum. And if I open the tap between these two, you will see spontaneously the bromine rush from one to the other. Now that is the simplest change we can have, perhaps, because all that happens is a change in entropy. In this case, the expansion into a vacuum, nothing else is involved. There's no energy change, there's no temperature change, there's no change except entropy.
The gas expands into a vacuum, and the skies claim to be a vacuum, an available space for that entropy increase to take place. And what he's just described is natural law, inviolable, applicable always. So if the sky was a vacuum, the gas, like the bromine, but the gas that we're breathing, would expand in all directions and fill the sky vacuum. It's called an entropy increase. It's very well detailed. Obviously, we wouldn't get into the detail of microstates with someone like Thunderfoot. We need to dumb this right down for a clown that thinks that gas behaves like bouncy balls. It doesn't. None of the gas in that demonstration fell to the bottom of the chamber. Obviously, it didn't behave like Thunderfoot's bouncy balls. He's a moron! And how proud it is to tell this moron globe-believing retard how moronic he is as a flat earther who does understand entropy, who does understand how fake space is, and how he's been deceived, and how that deception has left him making declarations of absolute stupidity to audiences of almost 1 million people. Almost 1 million people being poisoned with his abject stupidity about how gas behaves. No practical demonstration with a gas. Him pouring a solid into a fish tank. What an abject moron. I really enjoy telling Thunderfoot how stupid he is, with total justification and a smile on my face. Not, you didn't understand me pouring bouncy balls into a fish tank. It was dumbed down too much for you flat earthers. No, we have natural law, which we can describe with the number of available microstates that would be on offer by a sky vacuum. Because we understand entropy here, Thunderfoot, unlike you moron, who thinks that solids behave like gases, making you thick. Are we all proud to be telling this 1 million subscriber moron globehead how thick he is? I'm proud. Proud to be a flat earther.